Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my channel. This is the one and only SiloMan, coming to you from an underground launch control facility in a former Atlas F intercontinental ballistic missile base outside of Roswell, New Mexico, USA. For the next 22 minutes, I hope to take you through some of the really fun stuff that we're doing. As you see here, this is an original photograph of what the upper level of the launch control center of an Atlas F looked like. These are all these photographs, or at least the operational photographs, are in the public domain. Here's some photos of what we started with. You may notice some of the graffiti on the upper level, and the floor's been removed. Here we're coming back in. You can see we plated some of it. We put the cross beams in. Gives you a little bit better idea. Again, this shot is taken from the lower level looking up. You can see the cross pieces we put back in. About a third, maybe about 40% of that floor was missing. And here again is a much better shot of, you can see some of that. I call it C-channel that we put in, and then of course that's 1/4 inch plate steel. And we had that cut in, I think it was roughly 24-inch sections. Originally, when the floor was built in the early 60s, it was 48 inches, but the manpower required to pack that in would have been tremendous. Another picture that you can see, here's a shot of the lower level, what it looked like while we were doing some of that work. You can see it's kind of hazy, and that's coming from a lot of the equipment that we're using on the upper level. There's a better shot of it. We've got a plasma cutter that we're using. We've got different grinders and welders. These cross pieces that are being put in, we went ahead and custom made our own brackets to hold them, and then of course the heavy duty bolts. And then after all of that was secured, then we went back in and we welded, just in case there's any slippage, and then bringing in the plate steel. You can see from the scaffolding down below is a pretty interesting process. It was one that throughout the years I have looked at with anticipation of finally getting to do. And it was just, after doing one of them, I can't say how really easy it was. Yeah, we had a great bunch of workers. In this photograph, it's John Beesing and it's his son Austin. They're cutting the steel C-channel, and you can see the plasma cutter there. I mean, what a great group of guys that we had working on this project. These photographs were taken in late November, early and mid and late December 2014. So I'm taking you back quite a few years, but at least you'll get a good idea. You're looking down from here, from the upper level in between the column down to the lower level floor. Again, we haven't got all of the beams back through, but you can see the ones that we have put in. We did this over, believe it or not, we did this over 2 weekends. We did it over one weekend, and I think Saturday and maybe a little of Sunday, and then about a week later we did the rest of it. And then we brought in the plate steel and already had it pre-cut to the measurements, and then just simply laid it down and then tack welded it in. And you can see some of the plate steel that's already down. We've got a few pieces still left to go. See the vent in the background? Here we're having a little get-together with some of the folks that, the wives and the children that wanted to see the site that had helped me with this project. Some of the equipment that we're using on the upper level while this was going on. Cutting torches, you can see the different tools. Again, the fan for moving a lot of air. Wow, what a great piece of equipment. And there you can see we're bringing it all together. We've got the cross pieces in, putting down the plate. So it is coming together. It was so interesting to get to walk on it for the first time. Some of these openings that you're going to see from the original equipment that was on the upper level while the site was in operation, we're going through and cutting a lot of that clean and then putting in what we call plugs to fill in those gaps. So we're going to make it fairly nice. It'll all be completely solid, even with the openings. And you can see some of the channel that we're using there, and some of the debris there on the lower level. You can see we've got a pretty good lip that we left, so it makes it really easy bringing in the plate steel. And how we did that, believe it or not, we got 6 big football players in high school, and we strapped it in 3 locations and put cross pieces on it, and they just picked it up. 2 at the ends and 2 in the middle and 2 at the other end, and they just picked it up and walked her right on in from up on the surface. So it really worked out well. I was worried about that portion of it, but it really worked out well. And then here again, we're going through. You may notice them going down there. They're welding in some of the pieces. Originally, where those 2 gentlemen are standing is where the launch console was located. This particular site, Site 4, it has its original launch console, but it's been thrown down to the bottom of the silo, so it's on level 8 of the silo, and I went down and took numerous pictures of it, and believe it or not, it landed on her legs. So, wow, could you believe it? It was thrown down 140 feet and she lands square. So, here's Tim and his mom. He does a lot of work for me. And you can see we've gotten the one side completely finished, so we're moving around at this point. And we're tacking down it a bit more. The plate steel, that is. You can see how dirty it is. Notice on those are kind of beige walls. You can just see the amount of dirt. It's from a lot of the sanding and the equipment that we were using, and you can see where we're going through and filling those holes up. There was a round circular one there that we just finished. It took a little time, but in essence, over about, I'm going to say 8 weeks, if we were to take roughly all of November and all of December, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad to do what we had to do there. And then you're going to see, as we progress here, you're going to see what we did on the lower level in terms of bringing in more electrical. And I thought it was pretty swift how we played this. And so you're going to get to see that in a few minutes. Anyway, more of the shots of us doing the last bit of work on the upper level, putting down that plate steel and getting it welded. I can't say, wow, after all of these years, I want to say probably, 15 years, I probably should have done this, or what you're seeing here, I probably should have done it in the first 5 years, but I didn't. I had this real stigma that working with steel was just, I'd never done it before. And then after doing it, I find out, wow, it's really not that bad. So, lesson learned. Again, we're almost finished. You can see all the dirt on the outside on the center column. Now there's the lower level. You can see where we're building for shelving out around the column. We're putting in a cross wall. We are in essence dividing the lower level into 2 sections. And then we're going to run quite a bit of electrical in that wall. Here's looking down from the upper to the lower, from the outside rattle space, and that's just between the LCC crib and the concrete LCC walls. And here, of course, we're doing more work on the floor on the lower level. We got the welder in play. Lower level was pretty dirty, as you can see. Again, a shot on the upper level. You can see where we've tacked it, where the real shiny spots are, where it's been the plate has been tack welded down. Just an interesting project. And of course, we've got a lot more equipment, stuff that is going to be up there for the time being. Here's a shot of the lower level looking from into the stairwell. You'll notice those long 2x4s. Those are going to be for the center petition in the lower level. It'll be non-bearing, so it's really not doing anything other than it's just going to be dividing the room itself into two and also carrying the electrical, so we'll have electrical on each side of that wall. See the old drain line back there for the sewer? We'll be taking it out because in more recent pictures that you've seen that we've done everything now in PVC. You see some of the electrical panels, and those are just flow through. I'm just running right through those down to like the bottom of the stairwell. We've got 100 amp panel. Again, a shot of those 2x4s. Getting pretty dirty. You can see it almost took us. I brought in a cleaning crew, and I want to say 4 people, and it took them 2 or 3 days to really give the place a good clean. So, and it's just natural, let's face it, you've only got a couple ways in and out of an underground Atlas F ICBM site, and that's down through the entryway and the stairwell, or you can go out through the escape shaft. So it's, other than that, there's no other way. So you can see when we start creating dust or grinding or things like that, it doesn't have a whole lot of place to go. And there you can see where we boxed in around the column. That was originally the way it had been done. In a few more pictures, you're going to see one of the original of Site 4. Again, public domain, taken from the National Archives, College Park, Maryland. Just phenomenal that it was of this particular site, but you'll get an idea. You'll get to see the launch console. You can see where we're putting that center petition through. And looking up at the floor. And here you have it where we're running the lines. There's almost, believe it or not, that's all cabled or shielded. And you're looking at number 10 wire and 20 amp outlets. And there's probably 900 feet, so let's call it nearly 3 football fields. There's a lot of outlets on each side, but I looked at it that whatever can happen down there, it could take it. So, again, another shot around the column before we had it boxed in. Just got it wired in. And what we'll finally do, I haven't done it yet. In fact, I'm still waiting. It'll be a project probably in the next few weeks. There's the original lower level with the launch console, and you can see the partial wall coming around the center column, which it was a divided room. At one side, this side would be for launching the Atlas F. The other side of the lower level was for communication. This back doorway that you see there was an office back there. So, lots changed. This would be taken from the same side that photograph you just saw was taken. So, again, my friend John Beesing, he's doing the bulk of, he's got it down. What a gifted individual. It's his niece. And you can see where we've opened up each side of the column itself. You can see there. That was an earlier shot taken before we started running all the electrical. And again, we're doing more. We're filling in. That would have been where Tim is standing there would have been roughly the location. You'll see that opening that's laterally. That would have been where the launch console was. Everybody's taking a break, eating a burrito or something. And there we're going through. You can again see the electrical, putting the boxes in. Going around the center column. About to get ready to run the wire now. In the wall with the boxes. And the upcoming picture that you're about to see right here is going to show you what we had to do on that floor. That would just be an opening, so what we did is we just took the plasma cutter, we took a template of the opening, and we cut the 1/4-inch plate, and then held it in place, and then come back and tack welded it, and then welded it more. And then, of course, brought in the grinders and made it all nice and smooth so you wouldn't trip over any rough edges. And let me tell you, there's a lot of little holes in that floor, both big and little, so upper and lower level. So it was a job. And we're just running the wire now around the column. That photograph was taken, let's see, December 23rd, 2014. A little close up of the column. More of the electrical. Wow, that was a job done. Again, more photos of the wire and the wall and the outlets. I think there's like 20 quad boxes on each side of the wall, so there's plenty. There'll be obviously just for the time being, even though there'll be a 40 slot, probably 200 amp panel we'll put in there. And we'll have shelving that goes inside the openings. And some of the earlier videos that you've seen, that I went ahead and just covered that, then trimmed it out so we can just remove that drywall and slide in the prefab shelves. And again, if you look to the middle right of the photograph, you can see those openings we're going around, cutting in, writing a template and then putting them in. Another shot of the wall. And again, we did this after, of course, we put the floor in, made it a lot easier. You can see must say I've never done anything like that quite as elaborate as we did this one. Of all the other missile bases I've worked on, and I worked on lots, this was perhaps the most interesting. And there again, you can see where we're cutting that plate and filling in the openings. See one there that we're doing, and then the last bit coming up is going to be the wall and the electrical there at the end where we're going to be placing the panel. But what a fulfilling project. In the ends, and we've numbered the circuits. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this video. If you would, please don't hesitate to subscribe, click that bell for notifications of updates, and like the video if you would. It really helped me. I'd appreciate it very, very much. If you have any questions at all on working on any type missile base for that matter, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments. Love to get back to you. Thank you so much, and have a great day.